Namaste, my loves. Welcome to the mat. So for those who don't know me, my name is Bethany and I am the Yogi Witch. And thank you for joining me on the mat here today for a very special flow here on my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be working with a yoga flow designed to celebrate and honour Imbolc, the point of the year where we are halfway between the Winter Solstice of Yule and between the Spring Equinox of Ostara. So today you are joining me on the mat from a very cold February day here in Wales, and we are going to start to become really connected with the earth. We're going to start to kind of work on all the things that we reflected on during the winter seasons and start to kind of warm ourselves back up as we move into a time of rebirth. So it's a very important time on the witchcraft calendar, both spiritually and physically. So this flow is going to be an uplifting and inspiring flow. It's going to be focused on the full body, but paying a little bit of attention to the heart chakra and to the root chakra. So we can find some grounding, we can find some balance, and we can also kind of release any emotions that are no longer serving us. So you can grab anything that'll make your practice a little bit more supportive, perhaps a block, perhaps a bolster, anything at all. But when you're ready, you're going to get yourself sorted and you're going to meet me back here so we can start to celebrate Imbolc. Okay, so we begin today's flow by coming straight away into a comfortable seated position. So maybe you choose to come to a hero's pose, or you're welcome to choose to a cross-legged position. But we roll back the shoulders, we're going to bring the hands to the knees, and we're going to flip our palms up towards the sky. So starting to draw in the energy of the sun and of the moon. The sit bones are rooted with the earth beneath us. And all together, we're going to begin this practice as we meet as a collective coven, with one deep inhale through the nose and a slow sigh all the way out. So just spending the first few moments concentrating on our breathing, the journey the breath is taking as we inhale through the nose and we exhale out the nose. Recognizing if that breath is stuck just in the top of the lungs or if it's able to flow freely all the way to the base of the belly. Feeling that belly rise and feeling that belly fall. Starting to scan ourselves from the crown of the head to the tops of the toes, checking in with how we're feeling physically, if you can recognize any areas of tightness or stiffness in the body, and how we're feeling emotionally. Maybe you've come to the mat today feeling a little bit lost or overwhelmed or anxious. As we celebrate Imbolc, we are starting to shake off the fallen leaves, shake off the snow of winter, and starting to bring warmth back into the body as the days get longer and the nights get shorter. It's a time when light is starting to win over darkness. So it can be an interesting time spiritually. Maybe in this moment, all those things that you've reflected upon in winter are starting to come up. So we're going to work with our breath here and begin to release any emotions that are no longer serving us. Imagining that with our exhales, we're just releasing them out into the universe, letting the beautiful fresh air kind of cleanse and purify us. Staying here for 5 more breaths, my loves, in through the nose and out through the nose. before we cleanse ourselves with our breath, taking 3 shoulder drops. So on our inhale, we draw the shoulders all the way up to the ears, squeezing them nice and tight. On our exhale, drop them all the way down. 2 more times. We inhale. We exhale. Drop them down. Final time. Inhale. And exhale. Drop them down. From here, we're going to release these fingertips into the mat beside us. Inhale, roll back those shoulders, and on your exhale, we allow this right ear to float down to the right shoulder. So starting to stretch out any stress that's sitting in our necks. As we feel a tingling sensation from underneath the ear of the left hand side to the top of the middle finger on the left hand. Inhale, we move into the center. Exhale, let's take it over to the left hand side. Inhale, come back into the center, taking 3 miniature sun salutations here. We inhale to sweep these arms all the way to the sky. So imagine you're opening up this heart. Sweep the arms all the way overhead as we inhale. Exhale, hands come heart center. Beautiful. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. This time we inhale, sweep those arms all the way overhead. Exhale, let's take a side body twist. So right hand comes on this left knee, left hand floats behind us, finding a beautiful long line of energy from the base of the spine to the top of the neck. Inhale, both hands come back to the sky. Exhale, let's take this twist over to the right hand side. Beautiful. Inhale, hands come back to the side before we release them next to our mat, and we're going to find our way into our tabletop position. So you can roll over those knees or swing the legs forwards. But from here, we're going to start to warm up the spine. So from your tabletop position, you're going to walk those hands maybe a centimetre or 2 forwards, working through our child's pose to cobra rose. On our inhale, we roll that spine all the way forwards, dropping the hips, bend those elbows, shoulders come away from the ears, keep the chest lifted as we inhale. Exhale, press into the hands, tuck the toes under and sink the hips close to the heels. Inhale, curve those shoulders, roll all the way forwards, dropping those hips, bend the elbows, come to cobra. Exhale, take the hip bones back, tuck the toes under and come to child's pose. And you might choose to close the eyes here, my darlings, making your way through this movement with the rhythm of your own breath. So we're not rushing this movement, we're taking it nice and slow, beginning to bring some energy into the spine and start to bring a little bit of warmth to our muscles. So making your way forwards and backwards for a few more breaths. Yes. And without rushing, the next time that you move those hips back to the heels, we're going to tuck those toes under and lift the hip bones into the sky to find our way to the first down dog of today's flow. So starting to pedal out through those legs, bending one knee, bending another, hip bones come nice and high to the sky. Just finding a little bit of movement here. Beautiful. Before we come to stillness in our down dog, so rolling the shoulders away from the ears, tuck the last rib in and push the hip bones higher. Starting to connect with the beautiful earth beneath us through those fingertips and through those toes. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. From here we gaze between the thumbs, walking, stepping, jumping our way to the top of the mat. Inhale, fingertips come to the mat as we gaze forward, straighten that back. Exhale, bend the knees, roll the body up to standing, arms come overhead in prayer. And then into heart center, finding our way to our Tadasana, our mountain pose. Rolling those shoulders away from the ears. If you have a natural back bend in the lower spine, you're just going to tuck this tailbone under, feet or hips width apart. And perhaps you are practicing outside today. Maybe you're practicing in freezing cold Wales like me. But wherever you are still connecting with the earth beneath you. Start to become aware of the elements around us. Aware of the magic in the air. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, we're going to find a bit of movement and getting distracted from this beautiful scenery that I'm around. Oh my God, there's absolutely no one around me. So, coming back to the flow, my loves. Hands going to come to heart center. From here, we're going to step back with this left foot. Straight away, we pivot that back foot so it comes parallel with the back of the mat. We wiggle this front foot forward, keeping the hands to heart center. We're going to find our way to a warrior 2. So bringing this right hip, or left hip, sorry, all the way back to keep those hips nice and lined. Roll those shoulders away from the ears. Finding length through the crown, but we're going to keep the hands in prayer today as we are honouring Imbolc in this flow. So holding here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. We gently release right elbow, right knee, and sweep this left arm all the way overhead, coming to our side angle. Lovely long line of energy from the heel to the tops of the fingers. Embracing that space in the hips. Yes. Before, with control, we begin to extend the front leg. Right hand floats against that right leg, and we're going to wrap the left arm all the way behind, finding our way into our Trikonasana, so our triangle pose, pulling back on that left shoulder to open up those hearts as we connect with the root chakra. Holding 5, 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, gaze down to that big toe. Bending into the front knee, sweep the right arm overhead, finding our way to our reverse warrior, taking that gaze up towards the stars, towards the sun and the moon. Open that heart, breathe deeply into the lungs. As you inhale, beautiful. Exhale, come briefly back to warrior 2. Before we bring the hands to heart center, both feet come parallel. When you're ready, we're going to take this flow to the other side. So we pivot those left toes to face towards the back of the mat. Bend into this right knee, hands stay in prayer at heart center. Pull back on this right hip. Feeling strong here. Keep this chest lifted, find your length through the crown, standing tall, standing proud. As we inhale, exhale, left elbow, left knee, sweep the right arm all the way overhead, side angle. With control, extend that front leg, wrap the right arm behind, and let's find our way into that Trikonasana. So a nice calm flow. Doesn't have to be fast paced to warm up the body or find space. You've just got to be connected with the breath. Today we're focused on refining that balance as we are halfway between spring and winter. With control from here, we inhale. Exhale, gaze down to the big toe, bend into the front knee. Let's find our way, reverse warrior, left hand side. So left arm sweeps all the way overhead, bend into that knee. Beautiful. Gently releasing those arms briefly into warrior two before hands come to heart center. Bring both feet parallel, and from here we interlock the fingers behind the back. Draw the shoulder blades together to pop the chest open. Take a beautiful deep inhale, and on your exhale pivot from those hips, wide leg, forward fold. Starting to shift your weight onto your tippy toes, draw the heels down, coming a little bit deeper, my darlings. Yes, as we inhale, exhale, gently bend the knees to roll the body all the way back up to standing. We're going to move so those right toes come back towards the top of the mat. Pivot on the left toes, inhale, high lunge. With control on your exhale, we lower this back knee all the way down, and we're going to move to a half camel pose, or kind of a back bend to open up this heart chakra. Again, releasing any emotions that have been weighing us down. So if it's too much for you today, please modify it. But from here, the left arm is going to float back to find the heel of the left foot as we begin to extend the right foot. And this right arm comes all the way overhead, keeping those hips nice and level here to embrace this back bend. Open up this heart for 5, for 4, 3, you got it, for 2, for 1, with control. Bend into the front knee, inhale, the hands come overhead into almost a crescent lunge, so sinking in to that front hip. As you inhale, exhale, hands frame the front foot, tuck the back toes as we step the right leg towards the back of the mat and find our way back into our down dog. So remember, if down dog is too much today, you're welcome to drop to a child's pose. But we're going to find our down dog for 5 breaths. In through the nose and out through the nose. Beautiful. When you're ready, let's keep flowing. We gaze between the fingers, taking one big step, taking a couple of little ones. On your inhale, fingertips come to the mat, gaze forward, straighten that back. Exhale, roll the body all the way up to standing, arms come overhead in prayer. And then back to heart center, release the hands down by our side, come to Tadasana, roll back the shoulders. Bring the belly button in, find length through the crown, tuck the tailbone under. Today's flow is just a beautiful, simple but quick flow to find the space and to find a bit of balance between body and breath, my loves. So when you're ready, let's take a look at some balances. From here, hands going to come to heart center, and we're going to step back with the left foot. This time we move to high lunge, so soften this back knee, arms come all the way overhead as we inhale through the nose. On your exhale, float the hands down to the mat to frame this front foot, and we're going to move into our standing split, so starting to take the left leg all the way to the sky. Now you might choose to stay in your standing split, or if you have sugarcane in your practice, you're going to use this right hand as a bit of balance. Bend the left leg, reaching around to find the foot, and open up, whoop, into your sugarcane. So finding a bit of a back bend here. Keeping that breath nice and steady. Yes, as we inhale, my loves, keep going. And on your exhale, we release the left hand to the mat, step the left foot next to the right. Inhale, gaze forward to straighten the back. Exhale, bend the knees, roll the body all the way up to standing. Arms come overhead in prayer. Before we release them to heart center, find this balance to the other side. So straight away, we step the right foot back. Soften that back knee as we inhale first to our high lunge. Exhale, hands frame the front foot, and we lift the right leg all the way up into a standing split. Again, you might choose to stay in standing split, or maybe this left hand uses as a bit of a balance here. You can bend that right leg, find the foot, and open up to sugarcane. Keeping that breath nice and steady. Holding 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right hand comes to the mat, right foot meets left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands down, step back into a down dog. Starting to pedal out these legs, shake out those hips. Before we inhale, exhale, curve into those shoulders. First we find plank, and then we lower through our vinyasa. Inhale, hips stay low, roll back the shoulders to our cobra. Exhale, bend the knees, and this time we slide this right knee to meet the right wrist and guide the right foot over to the left hand side. So coming into our pigeon pose. Maybe you use a block here to support the right hip, or if you're feeling all right, you can come onto those fingertips. Start to open up the heart here. Start to engage with all the chakras. So root, sacral, solar plexus, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye and crown. A pigeon pose is a beautiful way to align them all. And as always, depending how your practice feels, you can modify any kind of poses and bring anything you want in. If pigeon pose is more than enough, then stay here. If you are able to bend the back leg, maybe you find the foot and stay here. If you have mermaid, maybe you find that bind. Holding for 5, 4, 3, you got it, 2, and 1. Right hand comes back to the mat. Release the left leg all the way down. Now moving very gently here, we start to come to sit on the hips and roll this body so we face the left leg. This right foot comes automatically into the thigh of the right leg, and we pull back the hips to align them and forward fold here. Starting to get a gorgeous stretch at those hamstrings, especially as you've been hibernating all winter. We've been on the sofa binge watching Netflix. Maybe that's just me. And so with every exhale you take, maybe you feel yourself sink a little bit deeper. On your inhale, we gaze at the big toe. Exhale, roll the body up. Right hand floats behind us. And we inhale, start to lift those hips, move to a modified wild thing, sweeping the left arm all the way overhead. Yes, as we inhale. Exhale, left hand comes to the mat. Pivot on these knees. Lower them back to the mat, and let's take this pigeon to the other side. So we slide left knee up the left wrist. Guide the foot over to the right hand side. Now you can choose to stay in your pigeon. Maybe you grab a block, or you can come onto those fingertips. Let's open up the heart here. Same this side as it was the other. If you have the space today, maybe you're feeling the energy, you might come in to a mermaid pose. You can bend the back leg, anything that feels good. So you could choose to come into this now. I'm going to stay here. My left hip is a little bit tighter than my right. So we always work with the body. We don't work against it. Also, it's probably about 3 degrees outside here in Wales. And we are in the Preseli Mountains here in Wales, which is just beyond beautiful. Cold, but beautiful. Yes. If you're in your mermaid, gently release it. And again, we're going to take into that one-legged stretch. So start to sit back on the hips. And we shift the body so the left foot comes into the right thigh. Square off these hips. As we inhale, hands come high. Exhale, find that single leg stretch here. Inhale, gaze at the big toe. Exhale, roll the body all the way back. Left hand floats behind us. Press into those hips, modified wild thing. Open up this heart. As we inhale. Exhale, right hand comes into the mat. Shift into your tabletop. And from here, you're going to cross those ankles. And we straight away move ourselves in to a comfortable seated position. So today's flow is just focused on finding that balance. We're not quite out of winter yet, so we're in kind of still a restorative kind of yoga stage. We're in a stage of hibernation, and we're halfway between, like I said, the spring, where we start to find a bit more power, maybe moving into vinyasas. Today's flow is just about renewing, and it's about finding that balance, starting to shake off the kind of cobwebs of winter. So coming into your comfortable seated position, flipping our hands down into the mat, start to connect with your energy now. Just bringing our focus back to our breath. Just closing today's practice as a collective coven, bringing our awareness to how we're feeling physically, emotionally, spiritually. So starting to send out our gratitude to the world around us, to the triumph of light over darkness, Sending our thanks out to winter for all the understandings and the reflections it's given us. And starting to welcome in spring, starting to welcome in the light and the chance to renew and kind of rebirth ourselves. Knowing that we are magical and we are powerful. So together we close this circle, this practice as a collective coven, by bringing our hands to heart center. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And a sigh all the way out, bowing the chin. Low to the chest with gratitude to the strength of our minds for bringing us to the mat today. For the support of others who've joined us as a collective coven for this practice. And as always, from me to you, thanking you for trusting me with your practice and allowing me to be your teacher for this special Imbolc Flow. I'm sending so much love, so much magic and so much healing from my mat to yours. And I hope that spring brings you all the renewal, all the restoring and the rebirth that you both desire and that you deserve. I look forward to seeing you on the mat again soon, my loves. Blessed be.